This is heavy. He said to me in quotes, "I wish I had have found you before I bought this business," end quotes. Now imagine losing 6 figures because you bought a lemon. A few weeks ago, a guy emailed me telling me that's what happened to him. And so I interviewed him on the podcast. It's episode 168 if you're interested. But he got scammed. Sure, there were things he didn't know he needed to check when doing due diligence, but he got taken advantage of. And there's so many ways people can get scammed when buying a business, and it's heartbreaking. I was just on Facebook looking through threads now, and people had gotten taken advantage of from buying businesses from certain brokers. And this isn't just one broker, this is from various different places that you can buy businesses. So in this video, I want to highlight some shady tactics, and I want to teach you how to avoid these scams when buying websites. So if you want to buy a great business and not get scammed, please smash that like button. By the way, for those of you who do hit the like button, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It means a lot. Now, I and my clients have bought a lot of businesses, and we've seen so many different shady tactics, but see if you can find the most prevalent one through this video. I'm going to highlight a lot of them. The first tactic and scam and trick, the thing that I see a lot is with content sites. Sellers can increase their ad load. So what they do is they can make as much money in the last 6 or 12 months from their ads, depending on how long the pricing period they use to get the multiple of the business. But what they can do is they can max out the ad load on the site, which means they put as many ads they can on the site to make as much money from the ad revenue as they can. But what this can do is it can work. It can increase their revenue hugely. And what it also does is it has a negative SEO effect. It can increase bounce rates and it can decrease time on page. And it can be a bad user experience for the users, the traffic of the site, over the short term. This is good for the seller because they're going to make more money. But as for you as a buyer, if you want to make the user experience better on the site once you own it, you may need to decrease their ad load when you buy it, which may mean you'd earn a little less from the ad revenue than what they're actually valuing the business from. So take that into account when doing your due diligence. Make sure you look at the ad load. Secondly, culling of expenses. Another thing a lot of sellers do is they just don't include a lot of the expenses in the business. Sometimes this can be, for content sites, this can be normal, right? Where people don't include the expenses they have for putting content on the site, which is basically a traffic acquisition strategy. And if you do that with an e-commerce business, you're going to be spending money on ads. So usually it's a cost that you'll keep in the P&L and include that with your valuation of the site. But sometimes not just expenses in terms of content, but other expenses, people don't include them in the P&L and they just disregard those expenses. So that's something you really need to look into, which is why you need to check where the traffic is coming from to verify things like this, to verify, are they paying for traffic? How much are they paying for traffic? What's their acquisition strategy of that traffic? And is that expense listed in their P&L? They can also be spending money elsewhere, right? It doesn't just need to be on ads and acquiring traffic. So verify where the traffic and the sales are coming from. For example, they could be spending a whole bunch of money on offline marketing, sending traffic to the site to make sales, such as e-commerce sales, and they may not be reporting that in the P&L, and that can make the business look far more profitable than it actually is. But when you go away and buy the business, you may see that, hang on, where were all these sales coming from and all this traffic coming from, since I'm not, paying for whatever means they were using to get that traffic, and the revenue may just take a big dive. So that has happened, and this is what I spoke about with Cody in podcast episode 168 that actually happened to him. Now there's so much more to share with you in shady tactics, but that I want you to avoid. Please let me know in the comments which one of these shady tactics really resonates with you. Which ones have you seen or heard of before? Let me know in the comments below if you want me to expand on those and create more videos around those and how to prevent yourself getting scammed from those tactics in on themselves. Thirdly, getting traffic and leads offline to inflate numbers. Sometimes the owner of the business may have personal relationships or a network in the niche that the business in that they're selling. the one that you're looking at buying at, and they could be sending traffic to the site. They could be sending leads to the site to make purchases. Now, why is this important for you to know? Is that if you buy the site and don't have a network in the niche, then it's likely you can't send the same amount of traffic and leads to the business to make the same amount of sales, which means making the same amount of money or revenue for the site as what the previous owner did have, because they have a personal network or they have personal relationships outside of the business online that contributed to sales. So that's something you need to think about when you're doing your due diligence and verify as well. Fourthly, fake sales. Now, this is crazy, but this is what I was alluding to before that happened to Cody, where the owner of the business was actually buying their own product with different credit cards as an alias and unknown, and that inflated the earnings, that inflated the revenue of the site. And then when Cody took over the site, he was wondering, how come I'm not making as many sales as the business was when I bought it? And the reason being is because the owner of the site was purchasing those products unverified as an alias through different means. And that's something you need to check in. This is why you need to understand how to do your financial due diligence. And if you're buying a site in the mid six figures and above, you need to get this checked by a CPA or an accountant. That's what they call it in Australia. Another big scam that people do with content sites and all different types of businesses, can be e-com as well, is they have fake reviews. Fake reviews on the site. So they may have reviews of products from Amazon that are not their own products on the actual site, which is scary to think because it's fraudulent to do that. So you need to verify, hey, where do these reviews come from? How do those clients review these, and who are these clients, and can you show me the person, their name that reviewed, that actually is in the list of the sales in the merchant account? Can you cross-reference those up? That's really important to check that. Obviously you wouldn't want to do it all, but maybe you'd want to at least check a big handful and see if there's any discrepancies there. Also, fake branding on sites, like featured in and seen in or seen on. Sometimes websites will have, they've been featured in Forbes and Entrepreneur magazine or all these other publications on their branding of their site or somewhere on their social media pages or whatever it is. But what you actually want to do is you want to see if they have actually been featured in these places by asking for the URLs of where they have been featured on those pages to get real proof, because there's a big percentage of people out there that say they're featured in these big publications, but they're actually not. And that really helps the branding and helps them make far more sales. And if you wanted to continue owning the business and have that branding still on the site, it still would be fraudulent, which could help you get sales. But if you took it off, that may affect the sales as well. So it's something to consider when you're buying a site too. One more big thing to avoid, which is a massive mistake and way people can get scammed when buying a business, is the seller's only showing you the numbers that they want you to see in the P&L, or the best few months they've had in the business, or the best few months of traffic and sales or revenue for the business. Now, where people really get taken advantage of is with brokers or sellers that show figures in their listings that you or another possible buyer may take as accurate information, and all of the accurate information that you can get. The thing is, where most people get scammed is not understanding how to do due diligence and not knowing what answers to find. Well, firstly, what questions to ask, and then where to find those answers to equip yourself with the right information, the right data, to get the full picture of the business, to understand the business in its entirety, understand all of its risks, its pitfalls, and possible growth opportunities. So how do we avoid all of that? Well, first and foremost, you need to know what to check when you're doing your due diligence. And if you don't know what you need to check, then what you do need to do is you need to go and get my due diligence framework. There'll be a link to it in the description. It's what I use and my clients use to buy businesses, that takes the guesswork out of buying a business, and ask the questions about each business that you need to find information about to equip you with the data to have an informed and educated decision if the business is a good investment or not. Secondly, what you need to do is you need to get someone on your side, someone who's bought that type of business before to help you go through the due diligence, help you review the due diligence before you even consider making an offer. You really need to weigh up the pros and the cons and see what possible risks there are and understand how to remove those or avoid those so you don't get taken advantage of and you don't get scammed. Now, I am curious because I went through a lot of different ways you can avoid things and scams in this video. Which one of these is most beneficial to you? I'd love to create more content around that for you so you can avoid having something bad happen to you on your investment journey. So let me know in the comments. YouTube watcher, what's up? It's Jared Krause here. And if you've watched this video up until now, please smash the like button. I'm really glad that you liked the video and thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing really well. And I also want to ask you at least to consider subscribing to the channel because my commitment on YouTube is exploding. I'm talking more videos, more content, more value to help you earn an income and replace your income by earning an online income through these videos. So please consider subscribing and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye. Hey YouTube watcher, if you thought that video was good, you should check out this video here on the 2 best types of websites beginners should buy. Or check out my playlist on how I made my first 100K from buying websites and how to do due diligence. Check it out. It's an awesome playlist. You'll enjoy it.